Hi, I'm Francesca.
I'm Victoria.
I'm Laura.
And welcome to Novel Nights. Hi everyone. Welcome to Novel Nights. We gather here every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. New York time, depending where you're watching. And today we are doing holiday-themed reads. Now, I have to tell you straight up, this isn't our usual live broadcast. We're doing a pre-recording because we're dedicated to you, the audience. So even though some of us are traveling, some of us have family coming over, and honestly, the holiday season is starting to get busy. We really wanted to get something out for you. So yeah, we're doing an early pre-recording. But let's check in, see how we're doing. Francesca, what's new? Anything you're working on? Anything people can look forward to?
I've been working on a lot of stuff. I actually have the Romanzopoly 2025 announcement coming this week. So that is our yearly reading challenge. And it did get a little bit of a revamp. It's an exciting revamp. So I am excited for everybody to see the new board, the new challenges. There's going to be lots of fun reading time for next year. So all of those details will be on the blog very soon. So I hope that you guys join us for that. It's an exciting reading challenge that we host every year. So that's been going on. And I also have been working on some of my side project, which is all about digital planners, Notion templates, and all of that. So I am prepping all of the 2025 planners and templates. So those are also coming soon. So there's been a lot of work happening.
Yes, and I got a sneak peek of the Romanzopoly board and the graphics, and I just love it. Laura, what's new with you? I know you're traveling and you have some exciting things too.
I am traveling this week, but one exciting thing is I've been working on Holiday Hub of all the different types of recommendations for holiday reads. Because, after Thanksgiving, all bets are loose. We're just going to be reading holiday romances. So I have spicy holidays, cozy mysteries, traditional published romances, and more recommendations. So I've been working on that.
So exciting. I've been doing a very merry bookmas here on the channel. So if you're on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, I have a very merry bookmas series. I'm sharing murder mysteries. So we're doing 5 to start. I'll share some more gift recommendations. I have holiday romances coming too. And I'm going to spotlight one of my favorite authors who I think is better read at Christmas time. So yes, we're busy on content. I have Elf on the Shelf content. I have activities. I even curated a list of some of my favorite Christmas puzzles. So yeah, we have lots of things holiday themed, and we're excited for 2025 because I am too working on a reading challenge. So
Speaking of your Elf on the Shelf, though, you have to show us your Snoop on the Stoop.
Or Martha.
Okay, I am going to bring that to our next one because we're doing holiday traditions. So there you go. Sneak peek into our next episode. We're doing holiday traditions. I have Elf on the Shelf. I have Snoop on the Snoop. I have Martha on the Mantle. There's so many little cutesy things that are coming out, and I can't wait to review them. I'm waiting on Martha. Snoop is here. I'm waiting on Martha. She's taking her time. She's making it nice. Yeah, so lots of exciting things to look forward to, everyone. So again, subscribe to all our channels and stay tuned and hit the notification bell so you know when we go live next. But today is all about holiday themed reads. So of course, we always share our recommendations individually. If you are new here, we're going to have some Kindle. We're going to have some book to screen. We're going to have some murder mysteries. We're going to have romance and all the things. And Laura will be sharing her recommendations first. Laura, what do you have for us?
So I'm recommending all Kindle Unlimited books. So there's a little bit of novellas, there's short stories. So I have like all different types of lengths of stories. I read them all. I actually read a couple of them this weekend. So I was very excited to share these. So let's start with the short stories first, which we have Under the Mistletoe short story series. They're available on Kindle Unlimited as read or listen. And they're actually by well-known authors who are just writing a short story. So the first one I want to talk about is Cruel Winter with You by Ali Hazelwood. So this book is a second chance. It's actually, no, she actually met him when he was born. And you see their whole life story together. And he's been pining for her. He has a crush with her like all his life. And it's just delicious. It's good. It's 70 pages. You can read it in one sitting. You get the full story. So you don't feel like you're missing out. So you get a full story for this. It's really good. So I would say Cruel Winter with You. It's a perfect, if you needed something to sit down and just like have a little bit of winter. It's stuck in like snowed in and just one bed, but there's a little bit more than that. The other short story that I read is Only Santa's in the Building. So this one's by Alexis Zaria, and this is basically like they're all neighbors. It's basically like she just recently moved. She's on a deadline. She's like trying to do, and her hot neighbor who's been sending her little trinkets, like decorations and ornaments for her to decorate her Christmas tree. And it's just really delicious. It's really fun. It's steamy. This is definitely high heat. There's also a full story. This one's like about 65 pages. So again, you can read it in one sitting. If you don't want to read them, you can actually listen to them. There are audios for free on Kindle Unlimited, or you can buy the audio for $1.99. So it's like pretty cheap and stuff. But they're really great stories. There's 3 more. There's one for Olivia Day, Alexander Belfleur, and I think Tessa Bailey. So there's 5 short stories. You can read them as standalone. They're not interconnected. They don't have anything other than they're just Christmas or holiday romances. So those are Under the Mistletoe by Amazon. And they're available on Kindle Unlimited. The next one is let's talk about a novella. So, and there's 3 of them, but the first one is Meet Me on This Place by Kelly Reynolds. Kelly is our friend. She's been here for Bookish Tea multiple times. So she actually has a trilogy of Christmas romances set in LA. The first one is Meet Me on This Feliz. Then is I remember the second one. The third one is Santa Monica Baby. I think the second one is somewhere else in LA. So it's based on LA neighborhoods. But this is the first book in the series. You can get them on Kindle Unlimited. Meet Me on This Feliz is basically it's a high heat, steamy novella. You can get the full story of it. You get to find out the follow-up of the characters in the next follow-up stories. But in this one, they meet at a Thanksgiving Day. And she meets him when he's in the bathroom, and then they just like it just goes from there. He's pining, he's nice, he's a cinnamon roll hero, and she's just like feisty and a little bit grumpy, and she doesn't want to have a relationship, but God bless, we have the relationship. So this was fun. The second one, he takes care of her, so there's some caretaking, and then the Santa Monica Baby is more Legally Blondish, so it's a little bit corporate Barbie, a little bit of that. So those are 3 novellas there. Santa Monica Baby will be available next week. All the other books are available on Kindle Unlimited, and they're novella. All right, let's talk about some rom-coms. We're going to go with A Very Bossy Christmas by Kaylee Loring. This is an oldie but a goodie. It was popular a few years ago, and I still think it stands true. It's a workplace romance. She's an assistant. He's a boss, and he's grumpy, and he doesn't want to do Christmas because his ex-fiance is getting married and to his brother, I think it is. And so she has to pretend that they're dating, and she's taking care of himself, taking care of her, taking care of him, and all these sort of things. But it's a fun one. It's high heat, it's steamy, it's good. A Very Bossy Christmas. And then she has to follow up about St. Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day. So there's actually, like, if you want to follow the holidays, there's part of the series, you'll see the different holidays. So it's a really great place. The next one is Big Nick Energy by Morgan Elizabeth. Morgan Elizabeth is known for 'Tis the Season for Revenge, which is her first release in the holiday novels, and that one is Legally Blonde reimagined. It's a petty revenge. It's really good. But this one I actually read this year while I was in the hurricane. I was like, I need some Christmas romance. And Big Nick Energy is a Christmas tree farmer who basically puts food in the mouth and tells the single mom to the kids that there's an elf on the shelf. And she's like, I've been trying to avoid doing the elf on the shelf for like 10 years. And now you just ruined it. And so what he does is that every night he drives an hour and a half to go to her place and set up the elf on the shelf in all the different places for the kids to enjoy and create the Christmas tradition. And then in the process, he caretakes the heron, and then they fall in love. And it's just really good. It's so wholesome, and it's just Christmas tree farms. I don't know. There's something to be said about a Christmas tree farmer and all the holidays. So it's really good, and you get to see some of the characters from the 'Tis the Season for Revenge. So if you read that one, you get to see she's one of the characters that comes from that book, and then there's all these different things. So they're fun. They're Christmas. Now she has If This Was a Movie, which is an Enchanted reimagined. And then I have that on my to be read list. So if you want some rom-com, Morgan Elizabeth's a good place to go. I just finished reading this one. It's The Holiday Games by Lily Valenti. This one is actually like, it's a small town from Vermont who goes to New York City. She's an innkeeper, and she goes to New York City for a conference, and she gets recruited to be in a reality show, like kind of like Great British Bake Off, but for innkeepers. It's kind of like a holiday competition. He is actually a producer for Housewives, and he's trying to get out of the Housewives world. And so he's betting on this show. And so there's drama, there's like history between them because they actually knew about each other. There's a cute cat who's like Satan, and he doesn't like anyone, but he likes the heron. And there's cat adventures, but it's fun. It's just easy. I read it in one sitting. It's just like a fun one. It's available in Kindle Unlimited. Lily Valenti, at the end of the book, she shares that she also has another pen name, which I'll put on the show notes, where she actually writes spicy, like super steamy, spicy holiday. This actually has some steam, but the other one actually it's more of that. So if you're looking for that, she does have both of them. So that's Holiday Games by Lily Valenti. And my final is A Merry Little Midlife Matchmaker by Lillian Monroe. I actually just started this yesterday, and it's if you're looking for older characters, and I mean like millennial 40-year-olds, you know, maybe a little bit Gen X. These are for you. So both are single parents. They both are like basically like he's coming back to town. She's been dealing with like her caretaking her kids and like dealing with her ex-husband and dealing with like being the family like mom. And he's like, I like you. And supposedly her family tasked her to matchmake him with other people. And he's basically like, no, I like you. And she doesn't understand, but it's really good. So I read about 25%. I'm enjoying it. So I'm looking forward to read this in the plane. But this is a really good one. A Merry Little Midlife Matchmaker if you're looking for older characters. So those are my recommendations.
Yay! I like that. I liked hearing that we have some Gen X millennial cusp people,
Yes.
you know, for holiday books. But I will say the Elf on the Shelf and having to drive an hour and a half to set up because you started this, sir. You started this, so now you have to see this through.
Yes.
I have to say, I am very interested in that one.
Yes, It was so cute. He was like, and every day he will come up at night. She's like, I don't understand. And so he'll bring her wine, he'll bring her like food, he'll bring her like taking care of her. And she's coming out of an abusive relationship, and he steps in to like, no, like we're not accepting this, we're not doing this. But he set himself up for it. He was like, you know, Elf on the Shelf is a great tradition. And she's like, no, do not do that to me.
Oh my gosh.
I love that. That is definitely one that I'm picking up. Plus the Christmas tree farms. There is something about that. I love a good Christmas tree farm.
I do have a listicle of romance set in a Christmas tree farm, but I'll put it on the show notes if you're looking for that, because there's quite a few of them. It's a nice little niche that's out there.
It is.
It is. I agree. I love them. So I'm definitely a consumer of Christmas Tree Farm books as well. Okay. So I am sharing the mysteries, thrillers, those kind of stories. You can expect a mix of contemporary, this year books, last year books, but also classics. I feel it wouldn't be me if I didn't, throw in a classic in there. So the first book I'm going to share with you, and most of these books are super short or they're collections. I think I'm always mindful of that during the holiday season because people don't have time, okay? We're already struggling, hence the pre-recording. But anyway, the first book I want to share with you is The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. I'm a big Peter Swanson fan. I think he really gets the classic mystery thriller suspense vibe, but of course makes it modern. So in The Christmas Guest, we meet our main character. Her name is Ashley. She's American, she's in the UK, and she gets invited by a friend to come spend Christmas at her family's house. Now, it's the English countryside, it's a proper manor house, it's, stunning in a way of everything you would expect a manor house to be. Now, for Ashley, it doesn't quite exactly meet expectations because I think a lot of folks think when they think manor house, super posh, but, it is also very old. But it's grand, it's picturesque. But this house and this family is filled with secrets. And when this murder occurs, of course, naturally, it disrupts the festivities. And she finds herself in kind of like this dangerous cat and mouse game of finding out the truth before, of course, she becomes the next victim. So this book is one of those books where it will make you second guess accepting an invitation from a friend or some random to come spend Christmas with me and my family. And it's, in the countryside, and the family members are quirky and a bit odd, but this is a fast-paced read. Again, it's a novella, so it's something you can get through really quickly and easily this holiday season. Lots of twists, holiday charm more than anything else. And like I said, I think Peter Swanson does a good job of writing those books that feel like classic whodunits, but of course with a modern twist. So that's the first book I'm sharing with you. Okay, book 2 is an anthology, and this one is entitled Christmas Crimes at the Mysterious Bookshop. Now, this is edited by Otto Penzler, and in this collection, you're going to get a roundup of some of the genre's best writers. They're all writing holiday-themed mysteries, but the best part is that they're all set in and around the Mysterious Bookshop in New York City. So I think I like that all these stories have this one place in common, So these tales just feature everything. So from chilling murders to stolen and missing things, again, all centered on the bookshop, but of course they all have the festive twist. Now, I love this anthology and anthologies in general during the holiday season and busy time, because the good news is you can pick up one story, you can read it, and then you can put it down, and then you can pick up the book, later when you have free time. But it's like you get that quick win. So I think I tend to, anyway, lean heavily on anthologies during the holidays and busy season. So Christmas Crimes at the Mysterious Bookshop. I also think, by the way, this would make a great gift. So if you have someone on your list too who is very much into mysteries and thrillers, this just makes sense. So you're going to get 12 stories inside, and I think they're great. So next up is a novel. Now, this one is The Christmas Appeal by Janice Hallett. Now, I love Janice Hallett. I spoke to her on my podcast before for her previous books. And the thing with The Christmas Appeal and her previous books that I've read and loved is that she tries to craft a mystery in a unique way. She's always coming at it from a unique angle. And she also tries to do the classic vibe, but of course, make it modern. The thing with this story, which is also a novella, so it's also a quick read, is this one is told entirely through like letters, emails, and notes. So you, the reader, you're going to feel like you're a detective because you're sifting through all these emails and notes as well. So I like that structure to the story. I thought it was kind of interactive and also fun. Now, the heart of the story, it's set in the middle of a quaint village, and it follows this local amateur drama group, and they're preparing for like their Christmas play, and they're doing it for charity. But then a murder occurs, and it just disrupts, of course, all the festivities and the planning. So we see the villagers kind of having to come together and untangle, okay, one, who did it, you know, what's going on. But of course, naturally, secrets are going to come to the surface, grudges, you know, who doesn't like who, and who has a motive and who doesn't, that kind of thing. So yeah, that just made it really fun. And of course, you're going to get some shocking twists. Again, there's dark humor in this one as well, lots of festive vibes, but it's a quick read, but it's going to keep you really engaged. And I think the format being different is also fun. I think it's fun. So yes, that's the Christmas appeal. The next one is Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret. This is a new mystery. It's a 2024 book, and it's by the author Benjamin Stevenson. Now, I think most folks will remember Benjamin Stevenson. I think his previous books was Everyone in This Family is a Suspect, or Everyone in This Family Killed Someone. They're two previous books. So you can kind of tell that the title is kind of hinting at another Everyone, da-da-da-da-da. So this one is Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret. And in this, again, novella, it's a short, quick, festive mystery. So it's a quick read. We meet our main character, Ernest Cunningham. If you've read the previous two Benjamin Stevenson books, you'll recognize Ernest. Let me also say you don't need to read those to enjoy this. But maybe after reading this, you'll want to read his other books. I just, again, love the classic mystery vibes, but of course, make it modern. I think Benjamin Stevenson and Peter Swanson have that in common, in that they really get the classics. They really do. So anyway, we meet our main character, Ernest Cunningham, who is very snarky, but also likable. And we see him kind of having to navigate this Christmas filled with just lots of secrets and surprises. It also includes family, because, you know, family during Christmas time, of course. But the backdrop is more of this magician show, and it's world famous. It's a really big deal. And we see Ernest find himself in the middle of a murder investigation. And again, all the people at the center of this, they're kind of like masters of deception and, you know, redirection and, you know, magicians. So it's like you have a hypnotist, you have a magician, and just all these characters. And at the same time, I think those characters add a unique layer to the story. And help to make it really clever. Now, I think a really cool and unique part about this mystery is that it's told in an advent calendar style, right? So you know how with advent calendars, you open one for each day to kind of get to the end? You're getting like little mysteries. So I kind of like the advent calendar structure. One, it adds a festive touch, but it's also unique as well. So yeah, it was great. You're going to get humor, suspense, you know, just good pacing. And that twist at the end, I would love to talk to people about it. Because I thought it was great. This really gives me Agatha Christie vibes, by the way. Quick and easy read again. And I just love what this author is doing. So yeah, that's Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret. Okay. Next up is another anthology. Now, technically, this one isn't all Christmas mysteries, but just hear me out. The book in question is the Penguin Book of Murder Mysteries, and this was edited by Michael Sims. Now, this book is really going to take you back to the golden age of murder mysteries. This is an anthology roundup of like legendary authors. So you're going to get your Arthur Conan Doyle, Dorothy L. Sayers, G.K. Chesterton, you know, those kinds of folk. And I feel the holidays, not for nothing, it brings back like lots of memories and nostalgia and, you know, feel good moments. I just think a big thing for holidays is nostalgia. So what better way, if you are a murder mystery fan, than to pick up a book by some icons of the genre. You know, all these people are iconic in their own way, and just kind of read their stories. So you're going to get puzzling crimes, you're going to get clever detectives, but more than anything, it's just capturing this bygone era. And just every little thing mattered. I feel in these mysteries and these stories, more than anything else, you realize, hey, every detail matters, justice prevails. Well, not all the time, but almost always. So if you love anything atmospheric, but also cerebral and just really satisfying. I think this is good for seasoned mystery readers because they will appreciate it more than anything else. But if you're new to the genre, you are getting a really great foundation. So like when you start reading contemporary works, you can be, aha, I know this. So again, this would be also another great gift, I feel, for your murder mystery fan, or the murder mystery person on your gift list. Okay. And the last book I'm going to share with you is an Agatha Christie, because I just kind of feel like Christie is better read at Christmas. Okay. Now, the one I chose is another anthology because, yes, you have Poirot's Christmas Mysteries and you have all these other novels. But again, I feel when it comes to the holidays, it's important to kind of get those short reads or anthologies where you can just get a story and go, get a story and go. So Agatha Christie's Midwinter Murder, the subtitle is Fireside Tales from the Queen of Mystery. This one, not everything in this one is Christmas themed as well. There are Christmas stories in there as well. For example, there's one called A Christmas Tragedy. This is a Miss Marple mystery. I'm a Miss Marple gal. And in this one, we see Miss Marple kind of recounting a past case where she kind of had a sense that an impending murder was going to have during a holiday gathering. And we just kind of see, which I think is Miss Marple's strength, her keen observation skills and her intuition really leads her to the truth in this story. So one of the stories in this one is A Christmas Tragedy. Another story in this collection is A Christmas Adventure. Now, when this anthology was released, it was the first time A Christmas Adventure was published in the US, because I think it made an appearance in another book or publication in the UK. This one features Poirot, but again, you don't have to have the long Poirot novel during the holidays. Now, in this one, he's invited to a Christmas party where a murder mystery game just kind of takes a sinister turn. So, of course, we see Poirot coming in and investigating and just having to navigate the event and just the festive setting to kind of unravel what is going on in these stories. Now, in the entire collection, you can just expect what you know and love from Agatha Christie, lots of good plot, red herrings here and there. The person they want you to think is the person who did it. 9 out of 10 times they didn't do it. But also the other good news with this collection is that you can read those 2 Christmas stories that I shared, but this collection can also carry you through the winter because, like the title suggests, it's a midwinter murder. So you're going to get like lots of those. You get those 2 holiday stories I told you about, but also lots of stories set during the winter. So yeah, those are my books.
Love the Agatha Christie because I personally hadn't heard about the whole tradition of reading Agatha Christie during Christmas until you mentioned it. But it makes perfect sense. And I think that it's so cozy and perfect that I will start that tradition myself.
Yeah, I think most folks kind of focus on Christie in terms of like when you go on holiday, or you have time to kind of really. But actually, a big marketing push, especially in the UK, was A Christie for Christmas, which I thought was a great tagline. So yeah, I think Agatha Christie is good for Christmas time. Yeah. And again, if you want to, she has lots of short stories. So you can just really commit to a collection of stories than, say, a novel that you probably don't feel you have time enough to read. But yeah. So those are my books. Okay, Fran, what do you have for us?
So I brought, for the most part, books that have been made into movies. And most of them are like Hallmark movies. Not all. I did bring a bonus one that hasn't, but it fits with the vibe of one of the ones that has. And I had to mention it because it's not one that I see talked about, or even that it's necessarily a holiday book, but it is. So I'll explain. But before we get into my books, I actually wanted to give you guys some author names that I always look for during the holidays to see if they have a holiday book out. And that has been like that for years. So I would recommend checking out Tony Blake, Lori Wilde, and we were talking about Christmas Tree Farms. There's lots of that in there, in Cowboy Christmas and that kind of stuff. Katie Lane, J.C. Burton, Shannon Stacy, let's see who else. And then as far as women's fiction, I always look for a Sarah Morgan during the holidays, and I do have one on the list here today. So let me get started with some. And the first one is going to be one that I think is the oldest movie, but I could be wrong. But it is a novella, and it's A December Bride by Denise Hunter. This was made into a Hallmark movie by the same name, A December Bride. I actually saw the movie first and then realized that it was based on a book, and I went and picked up the novel. And it is a novella length, so it's super short and fast to read. And I would actually say it would be your choice. I think is the only one, but I could be wrong. I think there might be another one that doesn't have any sex in it. So this is a sweet story. So if you're looking for those kind of books, then this is a great one for that. Now, A December Bride is about a woman who is works as a home stager, and she has an ex-fiance, and he is now engaged or getting married to her cousin. She gets an invitation to the wedding, and somehow ends up roped into going as with her as a date with the ex-fiance's best friend. So they end up having this fake dating arrangement, and accidentally they get thrust into this situation, especially with living in a small town and the pressure of everybody. They want to see them together and yada, yada, yada. So the situation also works out well for her because she does want to move forward further in her career, and she gets an opportunity through this fake arrangement to get some visibility with the company that she wants to work for. And on the hero side, Seth, he actually had been in love with her since she was dating his best friend. Of course, he never made a move, and he actually did some stuff that really hurt her at the time. So he is looking for redemption and for his opportunity to be with her. So the fake arrangement works out really well for him to have that opportunity. So definitely lots of feelings coming out. So if you like the fake dating trope, this is a great one for that. And also that small town vibe and kind of like everybody in your business. So it's a fun novella. And also the movie, I mean, it's a Hallmark movie, but it was cute as well. So you can read the novella and then watch the movie. I feel this one stayed pretty true to the storyline. So you'll be able to see the similarities between one and the other. The second one, I think, I could be wrong, but I think this one also is a sweet story. And it is Christmas Wishes and Mistletoe Kisses by Jenny Hale. I read this one a couple of years ago, so that's why I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was pretty sweet. I don't think there was too much sex, if there was any. So this one also has to do with decorating. And it was, I think this is the more recent movie. I think this was made into a movie on Hallmark in 2019, if I'm correct. And this one is a lot of fun. It is about a woman who also is doing interior designing, and she gets an opportunity to do the holiday decorations at this huge mansion in town. And that is the hero's house. And he needs it to be super festive and go all out because his family is coming. And he has no business. He wants nothing to do with the holidays, nothing to do with Christmas, but he's just doing it so that his family has a good time. And he just wants to not be bothered while she's doing all her decorating and all her fixing. And he wants to continue on doing his business. And it's kind of like a Scrooge, grumpy sunshine story, which I thought was really, really adorable and really cute. I really loved the dynamic between the two of them. So I think also the heroine is a single mother, if I remember correctly. So it does have a lot of the small town charm, if you like that push and pull of the dynamic when the hero is very grumpy, especially when they don't like the holidays. And the heroine has to like slowly break down those defenses and like get him to enjoy certain festive and holiday themed activities, snowball fights, and all of those kind of things. So he's reluctantly agreeing to participate and slowly realizes that he actually did enjoy those things. It was just a matter of being with the right person. So I thought this one was super cute. It's like the epitome of what a Hallmark movie should be. And the book also reflected that. They also stuck to the storyline pretty good in terms of when they adapted it. So that's also done really well. So that was a fun one. The next one is The Trouble with Mistletoe by Jill Shalvis. This is a little bit spicier than the others. And this one is actually the only one where you would need a different kind of service to watch it. It was adapted by Passionflix, so it is available for you to watch on that service. And Jill Shalvis is another one of those authors I didn't mention before, but is another author that I think is really good for you to pick up no matter what holiday book she writes. So always in for a really good, solid story, solid romance, and really heartfelt, usually small town as well. So in this one, the heroine is a pet shop owner. And she actually has history with the hero, but he doesn't remember her. So she used to have a crush on him in high school, and they were supposed to go to prom together, and he stood her up. She's never forgiven him. She's, always held that grudge, and he has no clue who she is. So he completely doesn't remember her. He walks into her pet shop, and the reason for that is because he now has to take care of his great aunt's cat, and he wants nothing to do with it. So he's looking for somebody to cat sit for him. So he walks into her pet shop and wants to basically delegate so that he cannot be bothered. And she doesn't really want to help, only because of what he did to her before. She's still holding that grudge, and the fact that he absolutely doesn't remember her when he walks in. But he is definitely interested, and of course she loves animals, so how could she not do it? So it's a really fun one, also really steamy, and I think that, like I said before, Jill Shalvis will deliver a really cute, adorable small town with a sense of that found family where everybody's kind of connected. So I think that those are great stories to explore during the holidays, and this one delivers that. In fact, there are several stories in the Heartbreaker Bay series, which is the series that this novel is part of, that you can actually get even more holiday romances as part of that series. So you can check those out as well. And the next one is actually kind of like a classic for me. It is a novella, and it is a movie that I do watch or rewatch pretty much every holiday season. So when we talk next week about holiday traditions, that is probably one of mine. And the book is Christmas Eve at Friday Harbor by Lisa Kleypas. This is the first book in I think the series is called Friday Harbor. And it is a novella, so it's a really quick one. It has magical realism in it. It has romance in it. It has an adorable kid. I mean, it's just perfect. It's set in the Pacific Northwest. And the movie actually is not the same as the title. It is Christmas with Holly, if I remember correctly. But it follows the story of the book perfectly, so it stays really true to the story. And I can attest for that and highly recommend that you watch it. So in this one, we have the hero who is actually taking care. He's now the guardian of his sister's kid. She's 6 years old, and his sister died, and now he's basically in charge of her. And the kid does have a problem because from the moment that the mother died, she has not spoken a single word. So he's trying to figure out how to bring her out of her shell, how to fix the problem, what he can do. And it turns out the only thing that gives her a little bit of joy in her life is when they walk by a toy store. And when she goes in and there's this little fairy house inside of the store, and she's just enamored with the whole store and the little house, and of course with the shop owner, who is the heroine of the story. So there's a little bit of that magical realism, like I said, in there as well. And they end up, of course, having to come and spend time together because he wants to make sure that the kid is happy. And that is like the only thing that is giving her a little bit of joy. So the romance, of course, develops from there between the two of them. The heroine, her husband had died recently, was her husband of 1 year. He died. So she's also in a position where there's a lot of grief that she was going through, and she doesn't know if she's ready for a relationship. So it's a very heartfelt story. And as you go through this whole series, they're not holiday romances, the rest of them, but they're all very heartfelt, and they all have magical realism in them with romance. So highly recommend the whole series. It is probably one of the more underrated series by Lisa Kleypas. I don't see a lot of people talking about it. And in fact, I just realized that this one was available on Kindle Unlimited. So I feel like there's no excuse not to not to read it. And if you like Lisa Kleypas, her writing is superb in this series as well. So highly recommended, like I said, and also the movie as well, which is Christmas with Holly. The next one, which is my last adaptation one, is a women's fiction novel, and it's The Christmas Sisters by Sarah Morgan. So like I mentioned before, Sarah Morgan is one of those authors that I try to read, usually a summer book and a holiday book. So I do tend to really enjoy those. And, like with any author, there's some that you're going to enjoy more than others. But in some also with her books have more romance than others. She used to write actual contemporary romance, and now she's pretty much strictly writing women's fiction. So in this story, you're going to get a little bit more of that women's fiction vibe. And it's basically about three sisters, and they have an adoptive mother, and they're all going back home to the Scottish Highlands for the holidays. And the mother is, of course, very excited for that. She wants to have a happily festive holiday season with her daughters back home. One of them, the youngest, actually lives there. And the oldest, she is kind of a workaholic. She didn't come home the year before, so she feels like she can't miss another one. So she has to go, but she's also keeping a very big secret. The middle child, she's actually trying to figure, she's a stay-at-home mom, and she's trying to figure out if she should be going back to work. So she's also dealing with a lot of personal struggles when she goes back. And then, of course, we have the youngest sister who is living there, living in the Scottish Highlands, but she also feels a lot of pressure from, what life the cards she's been dealt, and she wants to forge her own path as well. So all three sisters are dealing with all of these different things. They come home, and of course, it's just supposed to be spending time with the family and all of that, but all of their issues, individual, as well as their own issues with each other, and all of that family struggles and family drama comes up to the surface, but also it's about healing those issues. So there's a lot of emotional depth in this story, and a lot of really feeling the importance of that family connection. So those strong bonds of family are really explored, I think, nicely in this story. And I think that is also one of the things that I really love about Sarah Morgan in general, and how she writes her women's fiction novels, is because she really explores those human connections. So this one was made into a Hallmark movie. It's in Murder and Mysteries, I think it's the channel. So the only caveat for the movie is it's called North to Home, and they did change some things. It's the one that doesn't follow strictly as the book. And one of the things they changed is the setting. So it's no longer set in the Scottish Highlands, it's set in Alaska, but you are getting the winter setting vibe. And they did remove the holiday aspect. So it's more of a winter story. So if you're okay with removing all of that, it can still be a great winter kind of vibe to watch, but it does still explore the themes of the three sisters and all of those family connections and all of that. So I think it's still a great one to include, and you can see the differences from when you read it and when you watch it. So those are the ones that have been adapted, but I actually wanted to bring you one that I felt like I had to mention because I don't see a lot of people talking about it, and it's not strictly a holiday book, but it's Meg and Jo by Virginia Cantra. So this one is part of a 2-book series, which is a modern day retelling of Little Women. So the first book follows 2 of the sisters, and the second book follows the other 2 sisters. And the reason why I wanted to include this one in a holiday story is because it is set during the holidays when their mother falls ill, and they have to go back home during the holidays for that reason. So it does include plenty of the holiday theme festivities. And I think that very much like Sarah Morgan, it follows the issues that each individual sister is going through on a personal level, as well as the connection with each other, connection of family and those family bonds, and the importance of family. And you can really see that come through, especially around the holidays. So in this one, we have the 4 sisters. So Jo, obviously, who is the independent journalist working in New York City. Meg, who is more of the traditional homemaker in North Carolina. The book is set in North Carolina. Then we have Amy, who is in the fashion industry, and she's interning in Europe. And then we have Beth, who is a shy musician who's taking a break from her studies. So a little bit of all of that. Jo actually works as a prep cook because she's secretly running also a successful food blog because of some career setbacks. So plenty of like fun stuff that you can see the little nods to the original and how Virginia Cantrell like twisted that into a modern way, which I really enjoyed. And it does deliver enough romance that I think a romance reader will really appreciate it. So I just had to include that one in there. It has not been made into a movie, although I would love to see it made into a movie. And it is one of my favorite books by Virginia Cantrell, even though she does also write contemporary romances and paranormal romances and all of that. So just had to include that in as a bonus. That's it.
Awesome. I love Meg and Jo, the other one, Beth and Amy. I read those books when they came out. I love them. They were great.
Yeah. So adorable.
They were great.
And I have to say, I love Sarah Morgan's. I love her Manhattan series. It's like my favorite ones. Is like, I think she has a couple, A Christmas Dad in that series. And those are more contemporary romance. But if you're looking for the women's fiction, I just love her annual women's fiction Christmas drop that she just has, you know. They're kind of like fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also like Jill Shalvis and Jenny Hale. I mean, you had a good list. Yeah, so these are great. Awesome. Okay, what else do we have going on? We have our next shows. So let me get that up because I don't even remember what the shows are sometimes. It is coming up. Okay, here we go. So we just did our holiday themed reads. So next week, we're going to be doing Christmas traditions. Now, I know what you're thinking. The 28th, isn't that Thanksgiving? Yes, it is. That's going to be our next pre-recorded show. And we will be back live with you in December. So December 5th, we will be back live and ready to go to have those conversations with you when we talk about those comforting and cozy reads. Because I kind of feel like we're heading into that time when we're hibernating, whether you live in sunny, hot Florida or you're up north in the cold. It really doesn't matter. We need some comfort. But those are our upcoming shows. So again, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're the first to know. But am I missing anything else? No, I think that's it. Yeah, so just stay tuned. We have lots of fun things planned, and we're excited to see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.